check over on restream.io. Checking it out. Stream has started. We are connected. Looks good. We are connected. Excellent. So sound is good. Looks like we are ready to go. All right. Well, hello everybody. Today is August 3rd, 2026, and it is currently It is currently 1:30 in the afternoon, and the purpose of this stream is to demonstrate the acquisition of academic skills or tools, namely three. There are three tools that are absolutely essential for any sort of endeavor that requires the mind. And those three are acquisition of knowledge, categorization of knowledge, and finally, recall of knowledge. Once again, acquisition or capture, categorization or ordering, and recall or remembering. These three tools build, or from these three tools come every single one of the other academic tools. Okay, I am demonstrating, or I am pursuing the acquisition of these three tools in two of the ways are demonstrated in this stream. The third will come shortly, but the two ways that I am demonstrating this ability is through the use of Gregg Anniversary Shorthand as my means of capture. It is by no means the only method of capturing. In fact, if you don't feel very attached to it, I would recommend that you don't pursue it. It is definitely a niche ability, and so therefore should not be considered by the general public. However, it has been laid in my path, and I see some promise in its ability to promote facility, fluidity, and reduce hand strain from continued studies. So that's why I'm pursuing it, almost as much of an academic pursuit or a studied pursuit as anything else. So I'm using Gregg Anniversary Shorthand, as I said, and that is the way that I am practicing my knowledge acquisition tool. The second skill that I mentioned is the categorization of knowledge. And the categorization simply means that anytime you get some sort of information, you need to create a framework or a structure that enables you to then access that information later. It has to be in a form and in a framework that enables thought, that enables understanding, that enables deep work. Okay, the methodology that I have chosen to pursue in order to meet this second criteria is the Slipbox or the Zettelkasten method. Those are two names for it. Essentially, what this is the observation of any knowledge that comes to you. You immediately, or as soon as you can, turn this information into your own words. Turn it into your own words. This demonstrates that you have understanding and that you are able to reframe the thought so that you have complete access to it. So you never copy information, you are always transcribing or transforming the information. Once you have this transformed piece of information, if it is good enough, and if you have removed the context from which the information came, from which the idea came, then you take this atomic piece of information and you insert it into a larger framework. The framework goes by the moniker the Slipbox, and that originally comes from the idea that each piece of information was to be written on a card that had a specific key to it, or like an indexing value that enabled you to then place it in the correct order with other pieces of information. In other words, a slip of paper. slipbox, or Zettelkasten, which was the Zettel, I believe, means note. If I look that up correct to confirm, Zettelkasten. And Zettelkasten comes from fleeting notes, yeah, so it mentions the three methodologies. But if we have slipbox, it is the direct translation of slipbox, okay? Zettelkasten or Zettelkasten. And what this idea is that every piece of information, like I said, fits on a single card. Once that information is on the card, it is then contextualized, it is linked to other pieces of information so that you ever then engage in the process of developing a hypothesis or an argument or a research project, you then go back into your collection of notes, your Kasten, your box, and you extract the notes that you need for your work. And you're able to find that because of your framework of essentially IDing. It would be, if you're using a computer science analogy, it would be the index of your vector. That's essentially what we're talking about. You were able to go back through, go to your particular position in the array, the address in the array, and extract the information that was held at that position. So that is the slipbox method. It's a very smart and it's a very coherent way of dealing with information and allows you to quickly develop very diverse but coherent frameworks of knowledge and also complete arguments where you're not having to think up the ideas on the fly. You've done all the thinking ahead of time, hence the slipbox. It's almost like your repository. And then when it comes time to make the argument, you simply dive into your slipbox, pull out the information, and construct the meta argument from the micro arguments. Now, the book that I am using to go over to research and deep dive that the approach of the slipbox or the Zettelkasten method is Sonke Ahrens' book, How to Take Smart Notes. Again, that's Sonke Ahrens' How to Take Smart Notes. If you're interested in a copy of the book, it is listed down below. There's an Amazon affiliate link if you want to pick up a copy for yourself. I am, as I said earlier, I am doing the work, if you will, the work of absorbing the message of the book, How to Take Smart Notes, via copying the book in Gregg Shorthand. So this is a very, very, very slow process of accessing the information, and I am by no means saying that this is the best way to do it. It is simply a method that I am employing, and so therefore, if you see the stream, you'll see it's rather grueling. It's not very pretty, and it's not, to be honest, it's not very enjoyable. But what it is essentially it is giving me the opportunity of working with two streams at the same time, or interleaving is another name for it. And that is where I am essentially working through the process of Gregg Shorthand, but at the same time using Gregg Shorthand to help me process and digest the message of Sonke Ahrens' book, How to Take Smart Notes. So, thank you, and let us go ahead and get into it. So I am currently on page 103 of the book, and I go for about 3 hours at a time. So we're currently, with my yapping on like this, we've been at this for already 10 minutes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. He has just been mentioning how when it comes time to developing arguments, the most important thing that can be done is not necessarily to have a rigid memory of all of the elements of the argument, but instead have the ability to elaborate. He argues that when it comes to academic writing, it is more important to know how to elaborate on the information and thereby gain true understanding than it is to memorize the information. On that point, as I said in my last stream, I completely agree with him that when it comes time to develop arguments, one should not rely too heavily on the memory. Now, he, of course, doesn't go into the reasoning why or where memory would come into play. I argue that memory comes into play when the time comes to present information, or in the initial stages of information. Those two areas where the brain is in a very tenuous position and therefore requires a little bit of extra stimuli and cues that some of the mnemonic techniques and methodologies allow us to use. But be that as it may, he has just made his point about how it is necessary to understand how to elaborate and how to connect information in order to understand a subject. You don't memorize discrete pieces of information. You learn how information is supposed to connect. Now, so we were just going over a quote and a concept from Stein et al., a 1984 study, in which they said that the most effective methodology for studying a concept is through elaboration. Okay? So now let's go ahead and get started. And you are welcome to hop off and live your best life now at any time. Here we go, page 103. Let me pull up Zernal++. It's a piece of software that I'm using. The link is down below in case you're interested. And the link to my website that I use for searching the forums is also down below. So let's continue. Page 103 of How to Take Smart Notes by Sonke Ahrens. Learned right, which means understanding. Learned right, comma, which means understanding, comma, which means connecting in a meaningful way, which means connecting in a meaningful way to previous knowledge. Previous. This one's going to be PR. Preves. Possibly. You will see a lot of this if you stick around on the stream. Previous. As I said, you are well warned. You are well warned. The process is extremely grueling. Enter. Hold on. Let me just set my phone to do not disturb. Enter and leave all hope behind. Here we go. To previous knowledge, comma, information almost cannot be forgotten. Information almost cannot be forgotten anymore. Anymore. Ah, yes. Simply shift the N and E up a little bit, and then there's more afterwards. And will be reliably retrieved. Reliably. If triggered by the right cues. period. Moreover, this new learned knowledge, this new learned knowledge can provide more possible connections. For new information. I need to check provide. Good. For new information, period. If you focus your time and energy on understanding, if you focus your time and, let's add a new page below. This should be the last page because we have only 2 more pages, well, essentially 1.5 pages until, well, no, it is a full 2 pages. Yes, a full 2 pages until we are done with section 11 and begin section 12. To bear in mind, or just to put it in context, there are 14 sections. There are 14 sections to the book, and so we have 2 left. Really enjoyable. It's nice to see that we're on the second half. I apologize if there's the fan noise. It's a little warm in here. Currently, it's looking at the temperature. It's running about, no, it's not so bad. About 77 degrees in here, so yeah, could be worse. Could be 90. You know, we're having a little bit of a heat wave through the high desert right now, so. All right. Let us proceed. And where was that? So we just added page 20, and this is how to take smart notes. Section 11. This is page 20. Going back up to the top portion, put it in position, and here we go. So time and, moreover, this new learned knowledge for new information. If you focus your time and energy, so energy, I think, isn't it just ng? Let's look up that. Nope, it requires the R. No vowels, so it's just the consonants. N-er-g. On understanding, comma, you cannot help but learn. If you focus your time and energy on understanding, you cannot help but learn. But if you focus your time and energy on learning, but if you focus your time and energy on learning without trying to understand, on learning without trying to understand, comma, you will not only not understand, you will not only not understand, comma, but also probably not learn. But also probably not learn. And the effects are cumulative. And the effects are cumulative. That would be ku. Let's see if this is it. This is cum. And then ulative, I believe, is going to be it's some sort of ending. It's utive, cumulative. Let's see if that's that. Cumulative. Cumulative. So it's cum, so you need the full diphthong at the beginning. The full diphthong. Okay. Cum, and then utive. Now let's go ahead and move the whole unit up just a little bit. Cum, utive. Okay, cumulative. And yeah, that's good. Period. And that's the end of the paragraph. So now we go back and we reread that section. Hopefully I dropped a paragraph. I'm pretty sure I dropped a paragraph marker. We have learned. Yeah, there we go. Learned. Let's go ahead and save the page. Grab a little sip of water. Ah, gotta love water. Well, I mean, you don't have to love water. You just have to drink it. Hold on. Let me just go over to YouTube and check and make sure that no one's trying to talk to me. Not that they should. Don't they know I'm busy? All right, good. Nothing going on. Clear all. I guess, yeah. Excellent. We've got good connection. We just plug a chug, chug a plug, or whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Learned right, which means, oh, and I forgot the S of means. There we go. Which means understanding, which means connecting in a meaningful way to previous knowledge. Information almost cannot be forgotten anymore and will be reliably retrieved if triggered by the right cues. Moreover, this new learned knowledge can provide more possible connections for new information. If you focus your time and energy on understanding, you cannot help. You cannot help but learn. But if you focus your time and energy on learning without trying to understand, you will not only not understand, but also probably not learn. And the focus and the effects are cumulative. Proceeding. There is a reason why the best scientists are also often very good teachers. There is a reason why the best scientists are also often very good teachers, are also very often, are also often, are also often very good teachers. I believe the curve goes on the other side for teacher. That is correct. The curve, the backwards R principle applies, but it curves on the side that is away from the line of writing. Period. For someone like Richard Feynman, like Richard Feynman, comma, everything was about understanding. Comma. Regardless of whether he was doing research or teaching. Period. His famous Feynman diagrams. You look up famous, famous, curves the other way, famous. Feynman diagrams gram is a disjointed character, so it should be diagram, I believe. Let's confirm. Yes, and it's just a disjointed G. Just a disjointed G, and the die comes around on the side away from the line of writing, and there's diagram. His famous Feynman diagrams are primarily tools, and primarily and that is that a disjointed L? Let's check that out. Primarily. No disjointed L. It's just primaire and primary. So we go primarily, and it curves back in. Make it just a little smaller so that it's not an A vowel. Primarily, tools to make understanding easier. Tools to make understanding easier. And his lectures are famous because they help students to really understand physics. I believe really, isn't it just a longer stroke, or is it doubled? Yes, it does have to be a doubled stroke. Now that I fought so hard last week, I know I was complaining because I wanted to have continuity between the two forms, but I forgot the double-lobed. Looks like a flower. The double-lobed ability to show the li ending. Anyway, so here we have really are primarily they help students to really understand physics. And physics is physics, like so. See if that's correct. And indeed. So the F needs to be just a little higher. Here we go. To understand physics. Period. It is not surprising, therefore. It is not surprising therefore that he was passionate So this is passion, and then it would be an A curved this way for passionate. Let's go ahead and see what that is supposed to be. It does indeed curve, but it also needs the T. So if we do passion, we have passionate, like so. Passionate. And let's go ahead and straighten this up here, like here and there. So that is almost passionate. Like that. Passionate. He was passionate about challenging traditional education methods. That he was passionate about challenging traditional education methods. And tradition is tradition. Oh, let's see if that's correct. So we have N and then O. That could be traditional, but we'll see. So this requires oh, I forgot I did tradition. So we need to do tradition, and then it curves down. So we go tradition, and then we have the ul ending here, like that. Traditional requires traditional education methods. Period. He couldn't stand textbooks. He couldn't stand, textbooks. Full of pseudo explanations. And pseudo is pretty simple. It's pseudo, and then we'll confirm that that is the case. Pseudo. A pseudonym. Pseudo's not in the dictionary, so we'll add it. And that's pseudo hyphenated explanations. And explanation is explanations. Let's confirm that that is the case. That is correct. And that was Feynman 1985. And teachers who tried to make learning easier. By using artificial. And what is artificial? TF makes a round artificial. Maybe it just ends in an F, because the T and the F, that's a TIF ending, and that could be artificial. It's possible. Let's go ahead and check. No, it actually does separate the two. So it's art and then fish. Artfish. Artfish. If I'm not mistaken, we had one of those. Yeah, I was on the previous page talking about mnemonics. By using artificial, quote, real life. Real life examples. Let's make that just a little bigger. Examples. Instead of using their actual prior understanding. Instead of using their actual prior understanding as a connection point. And that was Feynman 1963. All right. So that is the paragraph, and now we go back and read over it. Once we save the page, and now we go back, we look for our section where it says there is no reason, and it's right here. Let us proceed. There is a reason. There is a reason why the best scientists are also often very good teachers. For someone like Richard Feynman, everything was about understanding, regardless of whether he was doing research or teaching. His famous Feynman diagrams are primarily tools to make understanding easier, and his lectures are famous because they help students to really understand physics. It is not surprising, therefore, that he was passionate about challenging traditional education methods. He couldn't stand textbooks full of pseudo-explanations, Feynman, 1985, and teachers who tried to make learning easier by using artificial, quote, real-life examples, instead of using their actual prior understanding as a connection point. Feynman, 1963. Writing notes, next paragraph. Writing notes and sorting them into the slip box is nothing other than an attempt to understand the wider meaning of something. Period. The slip box forces us to ask numerous elaborating questions. The slip box forces us to ask numerous elaborating questions. What does it mean? Such as, what does it mean? how does it connect to? How does it connect to dot, dot, dot? What is the difference between dot, 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 ellipsis? What is it similar to? I believe similar is see me, right? Oh, let's go back over here. Similar, and we need to go to mirrored. Simil, simil. So we need simil. And that was the final question. That the slip box is not sorted by topic, by topics. That the slip box is not sorted, and sorted needs to be longer. So we'll put that down here. Is not sorted by topic, plural, topics, is the precondition. Is the precondition for actively building connections. For actively building connections between notes. Hyphen, as long as the connection makes sense. As long as the connection makes sense. Oh, did I skip a line? Hold on. I think I did. Hold on. Where's the... Oh, I see. That the slip box is not sorted by topics is the precondition for actively building connections between notes. That much, and then yes, the second sentence is connections can be made between heterogeneous notes. So we need to go ahead and get rid of this much right here. Back to notes, and that was a period. Connections can be made between heterogeneous notes, genius notes. Connections can be made, so here we go. Connections can be made between, and now here's a word, heterogeneous. So that is going to be, I don't see any way how this is going to be a brief form. It's possible that genius, or as they say, heterogeneous, is going to be a brief form because there are other endings for genius, and that might just be genus, Genus. genus, but hetero. H-E, hetero. So that would be, we're going to start up here. It's going to be hetero, genus. Heterogeneous. Let's see if that's correct. So we go heterogeneous. And this would have an H on it. Now let's see how far off I am, or if it's even in the dictionary. Heterogene. And there we go. So the only difference is that they're going with there's no emphasis on the hetero, and so therefore it is precluded. It's removed from the stroking, and it's just heterogeneous. Okay? Nice, nice. Heterogeneous. And that has an H in front, so we have to include that. Connections can be made between heterogeneous notes. Hyphen. As long as the connection makes sense. As long as would be another place where we could do a phrasing. As long as, like so, because we could have as much as long as, like so. Let's go ahead and check that, see if it's in the dictionary. As long as is not in the dictionary, but if we take a look at words such as much as, you can see that, as lots of forms of as. Let's go ahead and go to segment mode, and this is going to just completely open up the floodgates, so to speak, because it has every variation of as. But as long as is definitely a phrase that is used quite often, so therefore it's in our best interest to go ahead and add that to the dictionary. As long as. Okay. Now we shall proceed. As long as let's go ahead and fix this here. As long as the connections make sense. Period. This is the best antidote to the impeding way. This is the best, and then antidote. Antidote. Antidote is my guess, but let's check. Oh, even better. There is a prefix for anti. Antidote, like so. Antidote. To the impending way most information is giving. Impeding. To the impeding to the impeding way most information is given to us. in our learning institutions. In our learning, and then institutions, insta, that's going to be INS, tuitions. I'm wondering if it's going to be a disjointed. I've never thought of that before. This is insta for institutionalize, and then tuitions, like so. Let's go ahead and check. So it's just institution. Institution. Ins. But the S curves around. So we go ins. Tuitions. Like so. Period. Most often, it comes in modular form. Most often, it comes in, and then modular. It's going to be, we did this modular. I think modular is not even a word in the modular. Yeah, module. That's modulate, but modulate, so modular would be modular. Maybe this, if we go module, and then modular, like so. All right. Most often it comes in modular form, comma. Sorted by topic, separated by disciplines. Sorted by topic, separated by, let me check separated. I always forget if it has to have an, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have to have an A. Correct? Separated by, and then discipline. So this is this is going to be discipline. See if that's correct. Discipline. Yes, undisciplined, so there's discipline. Ooh, and I really, well, I'm guess that discipline's gonna work, but it really should be curved just a little more. So we'll try that. Discipline, like so. Discipline. Separated by disciplines and generally isolated from other information. And generally isolated from other information. Period. The slip box is forcing us to do the exact opposite. I'm going to go ahead and add another page because I'm quite sure I'll need it to finish up these notes. So we go ahead and go over here. How to take smart notes. To take smart notes, section 11, page 21. Back up over to this previous page, and there we are. And we continue the last sentence of this paragraph. The slip box is forcing us to do the exact opposite. Is forcing us to do the exact opposite. No, opposite, I believe, is OPOS. And there it is. Beautiful. Yes, that is correct. Forcing us to do the exact opposite. Colon. To elaborate, to understand, to connect. To elaborate, to understand, to connect, to, and therefore to learn seriously, and therefore to learn seriously, to learn seriously. And check out serious, because I know that's serious, but see what. So serious is that, and so if you had an E, that becomes seriously. All right, so now let me go ahead and read through it, and then I'm going to have a quick drink of water, and then we continue. Drop a period, and we'll drop a paragraph marker. Period and paragraph marker. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this paragraph took up the entire column, and that's correct. It starts here. So let's go ahead and save, and let us read. Here we go. Writing notes and sorting them into the slip box is nothing other than an attempt to understand the wider meaning of something. The slip box forces us to ask numerous elaborating questions. What does it mean? How does it connect to ... What is the difference between ... What is it similar to? That the slip box is not sorted by topics is the precondition for actively building connections between notes. Connections can be made between heterogeneous notes as long as the connections make sense. This is the best antidote to the impeding way most information is given to us in our learning institutions. Most often, it comes in modular, sorted in modular form. Sorted by topic, separated by discipline, and generally isolated from other information. The slip box is forcing us to do the exact opposite, to elaborate, to understand, to connect, and therefore to learn seriously. And that is the paragraph on page 103, and that completes page 103. Now we get to page 104. Very nice. Now for a little sip of water. Little sip of water. Just check here, see if anything has come through on the YouTube. Oi. Nothing. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and put this over there. All right. Oi. Ouch. Stretch the legs out. Now we proceed. The fact that too much order can impede learning. That too much order can impede learning has become more and more known. More and more and more known. Carry 2014. Conversely, we know that the deliberate creation of variations and contrasts Conversely, let's go ahead and check and see if there needs to be an R there. Nope. Conversely, we know that the deliberate creation of variations that the deliberate creation, so that's creations, check creations, correct? Creations of, oh, creation, not creations. Oh, undo over here. Creation of variations and contrasts, and variations is versions and contrasts. Let's go ahead and check that out. So we need variations first. It requires another A. So we go var, like so. Variations and contrasts. And contrast is contrasts. Let's see if that's correct. I'm wrong. It is con, K, and then S below. Contrasts. Can facilitate learning. That is facilitate learning. Period. Nate Cornell and Bjork showed this. Cornell and Bjork Nate Cornell and Bjork showed this. Check showed. Pretty sure that's showed. Yeah, and then you just do a D off to one end. Showed this when they experimentally taught students. Showed this when they experimentally, so that's EXPR, experim, and then would it end in an E for experimentally? Let's take a look. Experimental E. Oh, okay, so what we do is we just do the experimental and then add the E on that. That's experimentally. So we go experiment, or XP, XPR, and then a disjointed M. So move this up here, Xpira, and then move this here, and then drop an E on the end. Okay? Experimentally. So that's experimentally. Taught students different art styles. Experimentally taught students different art styles. Period. First, they used the traditional approach. First, they used the traditional approach. Of showing students one art style, of showing students one art style at a time using different paintings. At a time using different paintings. Remember paintings, we can do the curve pointing away from to do a plural with an S. Plural S. Look at paint, and that is, yes, that is paint. A could be just a little bit bigger, a little bit more liberal with that. And then paintings, okay? End of sentence. And then we have, then they deliberately mixed up the styles. Then they, and that could be a pluralized or phraseized, phrasalized, I guess. Then they deliberately, no, then comma, they deliberately mixed up the styles. Mixed up the styles and shuffled the paintings around. And shuffled. Shuffled. Let's go ahead and try that here. Shuffled. Let's test that. Be fun if that's in the dictionary. It is. Beautiful. And shuffled, it is a continuation of the L stroke into the D stroke. So we go shuffled. Beautiful. Shuffled the paintings around. Period. The students who were presented paintings from different styles who were, and then presented is going to be scented. Let's see if that's correct. Hold on. Oh, P, it's R, that's unrepresented. Present? Hold on. Oh, duh, yes. Present is just PR. So let's go and put that on there. Presented. The students who were presented paintings from different styles presented paintings from different styles in no particular order. In no particular, isn't that's oh yes, I know that one. Particular order. Learned to distinguish styles faster. Learned to distinguish styles faster and were also much more successful and were also much more successful at matching paintings, at matching paintings to styles, and artists they had never seen before. This shows that elaborating on the differences and similarities of notes similarity. Is this the one where we do the disjointed T, similar T, and then T's on the end? Let's take a look. Disjointed R, disjointed R. Of notes, instead of sorting them, so the elaborating on the differences and similarities of notes instead of sorting them, of notes instead of sorting them by topic, not only facilitates learning, but facilitates the ability, not only this is the one where we go no, L goes on, E goes on the inside. Facilitates learning, but facilitates the ability, but facilitates, and the S should go the other way, facilitates the ability to categorize, facilitates the ability to, and now categorize is categorize. Let's see if that's correct. Categorize. Wait. Categorical, and then categorize. Category. So a disjointed R-I-Z would probably work, and we can check to see if that's allowed based on if we look up in the dictionary any sort of rise ending. Let's take a look. Rise, rise, rise. All of them are connected. Every single one of them is connected, so categorize. Yes, that would make sense. So let's go ahead and add that. So we'll do categorize. Categorize. All right, let's add that to the dictionary. Categorize. But facilitates the ability to categorize and create sensible classifications. And create sensible classifications. And create sensible, that's going to be sensible. See if that's correct. Yes? Sensible classifications. Classification is going to be K-L-A-S, classify, and then cation is, isn't it cations, like that? Let's see. Just a disjointed F. A disjointed F does fication. Classifications. So let's go ahead and make this just a little bit more pronounced here. Classifications, like so. And that's it on this paragraph. So now we go back, we read over the previous paragraph. The fact that too much order is what we're looking for. Here it is. Let us begin. The fact that too much order can impede learning has become much more and more known. Carey, 2014. Conversely, we know that the deliberate creation of variations and contrasts can facilitate learning. Nate, Cornell, and Bjork showed this when they experimentally taught students different art styles. First, they used the traditional approach of showing students one art style at a time using different paintings. Then they deliberately mixed up the styles and shuffled the paintings around. The students who were presented paintings from different styles in no particular order learned to distinguish styles faster and were also much more successful in matching paintings. Fix paintings, because that plural is different. Matching paintings to styles and artists they had never seen before. This shows that elaborating on the differences and similarities of notes increase, or instead of sorting them by topic, it not only facilitates learning, but facilitates the ability to categorize and create sensible classifications. And now we have the final the final paragraph for section 11. Let's proceed. Section 11.4. 11.4. Adding permanent notes to the slip box. Adding permanent notes to the slip box. New paragraph. The next step after writing the permanent notes is to add them to the slip box. Step number 1 is to add a note to the slip box. Add a note to the slip box either behind the note you directly refer to I believe refer is the same as reference, so we just do RF. Let's see if that's correct. Refer. Yes. You directly refer to. There we go. Or, comma, if you do not follow up on a specific note, if you do not follow up on a specific note, comma, just behind the last note in the slip box. Just behind the last note of the slip box. Period. Number it consecutively. Number. Let's look up. I'm pretty sure that's number. Other way. Other way. Number it, and then consecutively. That's consecutively. Consecutively. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and check consecutively. Consecutive, and that is, oh, it's even shorter. No need for the T. So we just do consecutively. Consecutively. Here we go, consecutively, and then consecutively, and then we just add an E to the end. Okay, number it consecutively, colon, branch out if necessary. Branch. That should be branch. Let's check it. Yes, that is correct. Branch out if necessary. Period. With a digital system, you can always add notes, quote, behind. You can always add notes, quote, behind other notes anytime later. Other notes any time later, as each note as each note can follow multiple let's see if that's multiple. Beautiful, beautiful. Can follow multiple other notes. Zoom down on the page, follow multiple other notes, and therefore be part of different note sequences, and therefore can be parts of different note sequences, like so. Let's go ahead and check that. Sequence, and so we need to add a little line underneath and also straighten it up a little bit. Add the K, sequences. There we go. And that's the end of the first paragraph, or the first section. So what I'm going to do is, because we have three more notes for how to add permanent notes to the slip box, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2, 3, and 4, and then I'll read the whole thing together. So the next line down is going to be section number 2, and that is, so section number 2, and this one is add links to other notes or links on other notes. So we have add links to other notes, or links on other notes, or links on other notes to your new note. To your new note. And that's the end of number 2. So now we have number 3, section number 3. Boom. And this one is make sure it can be found from the index. Now this is the key. Make sure it can be found. It can be found. Yes, that is found. From the index. From the index. This is index, I believe. Let's go ahead and check that. Yep, that's correct. Curves out even just a little bit more, and the nd is a little bit shorter as well, a little bit more squat. There's index. Make sure it can be found from the index, semicolon, add an entry to the index. No, semicolon, right? Yes. Add an entry to the index. Add an entry to the index. If necessary, or refer to it, so if necessary, or refer to it from the index. So that's always key, is make sure you keep an index going. From the index. So essentially what you're doing is you're building a giant book, and your index is what allows you to connect. From a note, or refer to it from a note that is connected. Refer to it from a note. From a note that is connected to the index. And then the final section, number 4. The fourth point, build a lattice work of generalized ideas. Step 4, build a lattice work. Let's see if that's correct. That's correct. Curve it down curve the T down just a little bit. A lattice work of generalized ideas, of generalized, let's see if that's in the dictionary. There it is. Genized. Yep. Ideas, comma, facts and mental models. Facts and mental models. And that's the last 2 words on the next section. Mental models. Models. Now that's interesting. So if you remember, we did module. Let me look up module, because I think we did module. Module? Modu? That's modulate. Modify, modest, model, modern, moderate, modicum. All these different, so module. Model and module. Oh, module probably would be M-O-D-U, U-hook, and then L. That would make sense. But this is good for right now. So this is mental models, and that finishes section 11. Wow. Wonderful. That's 20 pages. When did we start that? I forget when. It's all kind of a blur. But very nice. So we'll read over 11.4. Export this file for section 11, and then start up section number 12. Okay, so let's begin. The next step after writing the permanent notes. Let's go ahead and go over to that section down here. And we have, I'm looking for that paragraph marker, the next step. There's 11.4. There it is. Adding, and the line here is adding permanent notes to the slip box. The next step after writing the permanent notes is to add them to the slip box. The first step is to add a note to the slip box, either behind the note you you directly refer to, or if you do not, follow up on a specific note, specific. I need to check specific. Specific, yeah, we do need to have the E stroke, so let's add that here to a specific note just behind the last note the last note of the slip box. Number it consecutively, branch out if necessary. With a digital system, you can always add notes, quote, behind other notes in any time later, as each note can follow multiple other notes and therefore can be part of different note sequences. Step number 2, add links to other notes or links on other notes to your new note. Step number 3, make sure, and sure is make sure. Let's check. Yep. Make sure it can be found from the index. Add, and then the step for that is add an entry to the index if add an entry to the index if necessary, or refer to it from a note that is connected to the index. And step number 4 is build a lattice work of generalized ideas, facts, and mental models. Excellent. So that's number 4. Let me go ahead and take a break, and I will be right back. All right, so that's it. We're back, and now let's go ahead and continue. So we've just finished reading all of 11.4, and so that concludes section 11. That means we have 2 sections left, and then the book's done. So let's go ahead and save this section, and then we're going to export. So this came out to 21 pages, and so if you take a look at that, that's what 21 pages of Copywork looks like. Fairly consistent, which is good. Yep. Nice. Nice. All right, so now let's go ahead and export the file. Going to go over up here. We're going to export as a PDF. We're going to put it in finished Copywork, and this is section 2, number 11. PDF, and we drop that. We're going to go ahead and export. Takes a little bit of time. All right, so it has been exported, which means I can go ahead and open a new file. And I'm going to open up the columned notepaper as usual. Columned mirrored notepaper, and going to zoom in. And we're going to go ahead and label this as section. Get to label it as section 12, which is really fun. Now section 12 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24 pages. That's going to be a little bit too long for Zernal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and separate this into maybe starting at section 12.6. So I think I'm going to do sections 12.1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, roughly 15 pages on the first one. So that's going to be 12.1 through 12.5. 12.1 through 12.5, and then 12.6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. Yeah. So that should go well. So it's going to be sections 12.1 through 12.1 through 12.5. So we're going to go ahead and save that as how to take smart notes, and we're going to save this under 2.12, and then underscore 1 through 5. All right, and we're going to save that file, and we're going to go ahead and add that. So this is going to be how to take smart notes 12.1 through 5, page 1. Here we go. How to take smart notes 12.1 through 5, and then this is going to be section or page number 1. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add a second page as well, if I can talk correctly. Here we go. How to take smart notes. This is section 12.1 through 5, and then page number 2. Okay, sections 1 through, we'll do an arrow, 5, and this is page number 2. All right. So now we can go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and jump back up to the top. Grab our column and We begin. Seen some old familiar faces. Here we go. Let's grab 12. This one, and section 12 is titled Develop Ideas. Develop Ideas. All right, so section 12 begins here, and it is titled Develop Ideas. And develop is DVL. Develop Ideas, new section. Here's our, we start off with a quote from good old Lumen. Call him Saint Lumen. Here we go. A luminary. Every note is just an element in the network of references. Every note is just an element. I don't remember if element requires an extra E or not. Oh, there we go. And we go back over here. Oh, let's go ahead and minimize OBS. There we go. And here we go. Let's check this. We have element. It does require an extra E. So we'll do element. Okay. So every note is just an element in the network of references. In the network of references and back references in the system. And back references in the system, comma, from which it gains its quality. From which it gains its, and then quality is quality, I believe. Let's go ahead and check quality. Now it's even shorter, and it's just ku. Ku is quality. It gains its quality, and that was Lumen 1992. Lumen 1992. New paragraph. Ideally, new notes are written with explicit reference. Ideally. Now, here's one, is ideally written with 2 or 1. Let's see here. Ideally. Ah, I'm wrong on both counts. It has an LE added. So we go ideally, comma, new notes are written. New notes are written with explicit reference. Explicit reference to already existing notes. To already existing notes. Obviously, this is not always possible. Obviously, this is not always possible, comma, especially in the beginning. especially, that's E-S-P-E, especially, in the beginning, when the slip box is still in its infancy. When the slip box is still in its infancy. So this is infancy. Let's see if that is correct. Correct. Comma, but it will very soon become the first option most of the time. But it will very soon, yes, comma, but it will very soon become the first option most of the time. But it will very soon become the option, the first option. The first option most of the time. Period. Then you can put the new note, quote, behind. Then you can put the note, the new note, then you can put the new note, quote, behind, close quote, an existing related note straight away. An existing related note, related is R-E-L, related note straight away. Lumen, working with pen and paper. Lumen, comma, working with pen and paper, comma, would put a note behind an existing one, would put a note behind an existing one and number it accordingly. And is this num? No. I think it goes the other way, doesn't it? And number, let's check number. Nope. Oh, man. It does go the other way, so it's num. And number it accordingly. So this is AKR, and then the circle afterwards for accordingly. We look that up to confirm. Yes, good. So accordingly. Now what do we do? So we have accordingly. Period. If the existing note bore the number 21, so he's using an example. If the existing note bore the number 21, if the existing note bore the number 21, he numbered the new note 22. He numbered the new note 22. If note number 22 already existed, if note number 22 2 already existed, comma, he would still add it behind 21. He would still add it behind 21, comma, but number it 21A. But number it 21A. Double underline that to show that that has to be a letter. 21A. Period. By alternating numbers and letters, by all. Now, how do you do alter? Okay, that's tricky. So alternate. So all is the symbol for the beginning. Alternate. So possibly we go. It would be all, and then alternate. I think that's alternate. Let's go check it. Alternate. Hey, look at that. So all we need to do is just get rid of the L. Get rid of the L. We come up, do the T stroke, E, and then that. Alternate. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So there's alternate. By alternating numbers, and then sequences we did. It's the sequences with a line underneath for the W sound. Oh, wait, by alternating numbers and letters. We're doing sequences later. By alternating numbers and letters is going to be that symbol, I believe. Let's take a look. Nope, letters is even easier. It's just LE. And then LES, and it's curved. It has kind of a funny, you see that it does a slight curve back on itself for the plural, like that, letters. So we come down, boom, letters. All right. Numbers and letters. By alternating numbers and letters, comma, he was able to branch out. He was able to branch out, branch out into an infinite number of sequences. Now infinite is, think about it, infinite. It might be finite or it could be finite. Let's take a look. And they're choosing not to do the diphthong for infinite, which makes sense because that's finite. This is infinite. So we go infinite, like so. Infinite. All right? So there's infinite number of sequences and subsequences. We go sequences and subsequences. Now, sub is an S in front, I believe, and I can't remember if it goes towards the beginning of the line of writing or away from. We'll stick with going towards the line of writing, facing towards, and then we'll check it right after this. So we go subsequences. Sequences and subsequences, okay? Let's go ahead and check subsequences. Subsequence. And obviously it's not there. So what we need to do is we're going to look at all the places where sub where sub is used, if we look at subside and subagent, subvert, subtler, we're in segment mode already, so these are all the places where sub is used. It's used in subhead, but let's see, if you have an SS, sub, oh, there we go, subsoil, or actually subsist is even better, look at that. So subsist is an SS, and so therefore, the way that we would show sub is simply add it. You add it to the word that comes after. So let's go ahead and do that here. So we're going to go S, subsequence. So sub and then sequence, like so, and that's subsequences. Internally with no hierarchical order. And now internally is, we use inter, and then do we just do a dot underneath for internally? I think so, because that's inter and then ali. Let's check. Internally. Oh, okay, so it's a slight modification. We still do use the prefix of inter. Leave that there, and then we have nelly. Nelly. All right. Whoa, nelly. All right, so we have internally with no hierarchical order. With no, and then hierarchical. Hierarchical, hierarchy, we can probably use hierarchy and then we just add a cul ending, ikul, which is a disjointed K. So we go hierarchical, we go in here, higher, and then hierarch, and then a disjointed, hierarch, and then ikul. So let's check that out. Let's see what hierarchical is. So all we have is hierarchy. Oh, interesting. Hierar is all that it takes to do the hierarchy or hierarchy. Oh boy, try to say that. Hierarchy. Little. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first portion for hierarch, and we then put the ikal ending, hierarchical. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the dictionary as well. We had a good old friend, Richard Shinetti. Most of us knew him as Dictionary. All right, so hierarchical. Hierarchical. Good. Adding that, and now we end up with order, and that's the first paragraph done. That took a full paragraph. I'm beginning to see how much text, I'm kind of seeing the pattern now of how much text it takes to fill up a column. So we've done order. Now let's go back up through and read through the paragraph. So we grab our little marker and we start. Section 12, and that, I need to rewrite that. I'm not dyslexic. I know which way to do my letters and my numbers. It's just that when you're writing backwards, you're writing the mirror. I have all my letters or my numbers backwards as well, and so every once in a while I'll switch the order, and it makes me feel exceptionally stupid. I mean, I'm already feeling stupid by doing this, but it adds an extra level of stupidity. So here we go, section 12, and that is develop ideas. Here we go, and this is the quote from Lumen. Every note is just an element in the network of references and back references in the system from which it gains its quality. And that was Lumen 1992, and that's the quote to start off the section, and here's the section itself. Ideally, no note or no new notes are written without explicit reference to already existing notes. Obviously, and we need to put a little E on the end of there. There we go. Obviously, this is not always possible, especially in the beginning, when the slipbox is still in its infancy. But it will very soon become the first option most of the time. Then you can put, and put is just P, because PT is part. Then you can put the new note, quote, behind an existing, yeah, so this is just an A. Here we go. An existing related note. Straight away. Lumen, working with pen and paper, would put a note behind an existing one and number it accordingly. If the existing note bore the number 21, he numbered the new note 22. If note number 22 already existed, he would still add it behind 21, but number it 21A. By alternating numbers and letters, he was able to branch out into an infinite sequence. Infinite what? An infinite number of. Oh, I forgot number of. Let's add that here. Number of. Here we go. Number of sequences and subsequences internally with no hierarchical order. And there we go. That was the paragraph. Now let's continue. An initial subsequence that attracts more and more follow-up notes. An initial, so that's in-ish. Oh, let's see if that's correct. Initial. Yep, grab the line. Initial. Oh, it's even shorter. Just inish. Nice. But we do have to have the initial. No pun intended. We have to have the initial E. There's initial. An initial subsequence that attracts more and more follow-up notes. That, and then attracts is A-T-R-K-S. Let's see if that's attract or if it requires another vowel. It does not, so that is correct. That attracts more and more. How much room do we have over on this side? Not enough, so we'll do more and more. Follow up notes can easily become a main topic. Can easily become a main topic with many subtopics. With many, and then we have subtopics. Over time. over time. And that was according to Schmidt, 2013, page 172. So we have Schmidt, 2013, page 172. 172. Close parenthesis. A digital Zettelkasten makes things easier. Okay? He says a digital Zettelkasten. So here we go. We have Zettel and then Kasten. Interesting. He switched over to Zettelkasten. He must have meant to do that slip box and it just came through. So we have Zettel and then Kasten. Zettel Kasten. Like so. Makes things easier because he's been very consistent. He's been very consistent throughout with changing the name to the English, which is Slipbox, which I appreciate. A digital Zettelkasten makes things easier. Makes things easier, colon, depending on the program. And depending on the program. And this is program, I believe. Yes, disjointed. Disjointed to show the gram endings. So let's go ahead and boom, boom. Move the PR up, move the G below. Comma. Either numbers or backlinks are assigned automatically. Either numbers or backlinks are, and then assigned. So this is assigned. I think that's assigned. Let's check and see. Assigned. We do need an in. And then it forms an nd, so we go assigned. Assigned. Automatically. And automatically was the auto and then the circle underneath for matically. Let's see if that's correct. Automatically. Automatic. And then automatically is changing the circle into an oval. So auto and then matically. All right. Where are assigned automatically. Quote, note sequences can be constructed anytime. So comma. Note sequences can be constructed anytime. Now constructed is I think it's con and then ks. ks and then you would do a d underneath for constructed. Let's see if that's correct. Got the value. Construct. Oh, nope, I was wrong. So the ks is on the top and then k is below. So let's go ahead and change that here. So we have k, ks, and then k below, and then the t. Oh, I take that back. The t is added. So constructed can be constructed anytime later. So anytime later. And one note can become the follow-up note, and one note can become the follow-up note. Two different notes at the same time. Two different notes at the same time. Very slick. All right, so now we'll go ahead and read back through that. Where's our paragraph start? It is an initial subsequence. An initial subsequence, and it's right here. Let's drop a paragraph marker for future reference. And here we go. An initial subsequence that attracts more and more follow-up notes. I need to check follow-up, and I also need to curve it just a little bit more so it doesn't look like a P. Follow. Yep, and it does indeed curve that way. So let's go ahead and put a little bit more of a forward tilt. Follow, like so. Follow up. There we go. Follow-up notes can easily become a main topic if with many subtopics over time. This was according to Schmidt, 2013, page 172. Digital Zettelkasten, Slipbox, makes this easier, depending on the program. Either numbers or backlinks are assigned automatically. Note sequences, let's add a little S here. There's S. Note sequences can be constructed anytime later, and one note can become the follow, let's fix the follow up here as well, can become the follow up note to different notes at the same time. These note sequences are the backbone of text development. These note sequences are the backbone. Interesting. Backbone. Looks good. Backbone of text development. Period. They combine the advantages of an abstract. So that's I think that one is combine. Let's see. Let's take a look. Combine. Very nice. Very nice. You don't even have to worry about the in. They combine the advantages of an abstract. The advantage. That's advantages of. Was that a veil or vantage? I think that's advantage. Advantage. Yes. Very nice. The advantages of an abstract. And abstract is, I think it was just sk. I think we saw that earlier today. Yes, ABSK. Of an abstract with a topic-related order, with topic quote or topic hyphen related order. A pure topic-related order, pure topic-related order would have to be organized top-down, would have to be organized. They're not the same, I don't think. I think you do have to have a T added at the end. Organize and organized. Yes. So organized does require a disjointed T. Straighten this up. We have organized top down. And top is top down. Whoop, come on. There we go. Top down. And requires a hierarchical order up front. And requires our favorite word here. That's a hierarchy. We gotta pay attention to the hierarchy, you know, eh? I mean, after all, the hierarchy is all we've had, eh? If you disrupt the hierarchy, then it's all over, eh? God bless Jordan Peterson. Hope he gets better soon. I know he's really struggling with his health. Hope he gets better, eh? Because we really need to have him. I mean, we'd be ashamed not to have him. We need someone to help us scream into the darkness. Okay, so we have hierarchy. Oh wait, no. Hierarchy has to have the extra. It goes. I'm so busy mocking Jordan Peterson that I didn't even do it correctly. So we have hierarchy, and then we have an E at the end, I believe, right? Let's check that. See, that's what I get. That's what I get for mocking good old Dr. Peterson. So let's try hierarchy. So it works. We just have to curve. Interesting. So, it becomes an RK. That's what it is. So we go high R and then key like that. Okay. So there's hierarchy. A pure hierarchical. Wait. Oh wait. No. Duh. Oh, I can't think. Okay. Here we go. Hierarchical. There we go. All right. I give up. I'm sorry. I will stay in my lane. Here we go. Order. A pure. Yes. So a pure topic-related order would have to be organized top-down and requires a hierarchical order up front. Up front. All right? Period. A pure abstract order would not allow idea clusters. So we have pure abstract. And move it down just a little bit. Straighten this up here. A pure abstract order would not allow idea clusters. A pure abstract order would not allow idea clusters and topics to build bottom up. Would not allow idea clusters, KL, clusters and clusters. I think that probably needs to follow the same, where we go clusters, right? Let's check it and see. Cluster. Grab the whole thing. Cluster. Yep. And then we just make the long E into a little bit more of a loop to make it plural. Clusters. That's correct, right? Yeah. The S is just a little bit too long, but I'm going to leave it. And topics to be built bottom up. Idea, clusters, and topics. And topics to be built bottom. B-O-T-M, right? Up. Let's see if that's correct on bottom. We haven't had to use that one in a while. Yep, the only difference, it's close enough, but it's a little bit of a loop at the base, and that is perfectly satisfactory. The individual notes would stay mostly independent. The individual. So this is individual. Oh yes, we've done this one before. We did ind, and then it goes down vil. Is that what it is? I'm trying to think here. Individ. Let's check it out. Individual. Ah, yes, that's right. So it's just ind and then v for individual. So we'll go ahead and straighten that up here. We have ind and individual. The individual notes would stay mostly independent. Would stay, should curve around, would stay mostly independent, right? That's and then P. Independent. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so let's put a little bit more of a curve in the P so that it has better form. There we go. Stay mostly independent and isolated. And isolated with only one-dimensional references. With only one, and then dimension is dimension, right? And then dimensional. Let's see if that's correct. Dimension. Okay, all right, close enough. We just have to have an N, so we have to have an E first. Dimensional, because we have to put emphasis on the E on the second half of the syllable. So we go dimension and then dimensional. And isolated with only one-dimensional and then references. So now we're on the next column. References. References. Hyphen. Pretty much like a one-person Wikipedia. Pretty much like one hyphen, yeah, hyphenated, one person Wikipedia and wiki and then Padia. We did Padia before. It's Padia, correct? Let's take a look. Wikipedia. Yep, yeah, we added it. Oh, that looks funny. And it was added. You know, I don't like that. Because if we look up Padia, well, you know, yeah, I don't like that at all. Oh well, I'm not gonna argue with tradition. So let's go ahead and do a wiki. Let's put the E on the outside. So we go Wikipedia. There we go. That's something I can get behind. All right. Stripped of the knowledge. Stripped of the knowledge and fact-checking abilities of the community. Of the knowledge and fact-checking abilities of the, and then community is community. Let's see if that's correct. Almost. So we have to separate it. We go for community. Period. And let's go ahead and read through that. These note sequences are the backbone of text development. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. It is so nice to not have to look up every other word. Proficiency, or at least the beginnings of proficiency, is a marvelous thing. Marvelous. Okay, so these note sequences is what I'm looking for. We're also looking for a paragraph drop. If I put it in these note sequences, there it is. Let's go ahead and start. These note sequences are the backbone of its development with combining. They combine the advantages of abstract, of unabstract, with the topic-related order. With a topic-related order. Pure, and I'm sure that's pure, but I need to confirm. Yep, good. So, pure topic-related order would have to be organized top-down and requires hierarchical order up front. Pure abstract order would not allow idea clusters and topics to be built bottom up, period. The individual notes would stay mostly independent and isolated with only one. That's a one, not an S. There we go. Fix that a little bit. With one dimensional references. With one-dimensional references. Pretty much like one-person Wikipedia, stripped of the knowledge and fact-checking abilities of the community. All right, moving on. But a loose order of sequences allows freedom. But a loose order of sequences allows freedom to change course when necessary. To change is up here. Change course when... Is that course, Kate? Let me check freedom first. Yes, that's freedom, obviously. And then change. Oh, good old CH. Boy, that CH does a lot of duty. Change, and then course. Yep. To change course when necessary and provide enough structure. So to change course when necessary. And provides enough structure and provides enough structure to build up complexity. To build up complexity. What is complexity? I think I remember it. Let's take a look. It's complexity, right? Let's take a look. Yay! That's right. Period. Notes are only as valuable as the note and reference network they are embedded in. Notes are only as valuable as the note and reference network as the note and reference network in which they are embedded, in which they are embedded in which they are embedded in. Nice. Let me look up embed. I'm pretty sure that's one that I had to add. Yep, that's one of mine. Embedded in. Yay! All right, so that's the end of that paragraph, and that's the end of page 105. So now let's go ahead and continue. Did that really take... I have 9 minutes left. Did that really take an hour to do? Or 2 hours? Whoa, I don't know. Let's go ahead and continue. Oi, how long have I been going? How long? Hold on. How long have I been going for? 2 hours and 50 minutes? Are you serious? I've been going for almost 3 hours? What did I do? Oh, I don't know. All right, well, whatever. I'm sitting here thinking, where did the time go? All right, but a loose order of, I guess that's a case of this book over here, Csikszentmihalyi Flow, A Psychology of Optimal Experience. I guess I'm having an optimal experience or something, because, man, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I don't know if I went slower or what, but, I don't know. All right, well, I can't make sense of myself. Let's just keep on going. But a loose order is what we're looking for. But a loose, there it is. So we'll drop the paragraph marker and start. But a loose order of sequences allows freedom to change course when necessary, and provides enough structure to build up complexity. Notes are only as valuable as the note and reference network in which they are embedded in. Nice. And that ends page 105. So now let's go ahead and get started with the next section. Good. So I guess that was a little bit more dense or something. I don't know. Here we go. No sense to be made. We just keep on pushing away. Pushing on. Now we have, because the slip box is not intended to be an encyclopedia. This is the next paragraph. So we have now, because the slip box is not intended. Okay, because the slip box is not intended, and intend, this is int, end, id, right? I think intended is int, ent, and then a longer stroke for intended. Let's see if that's true. Well, what happened? Put you here. And we go over here. Check this out. We have intended. Nothing there. Minimize you. We need, leave this up. There we go. So intended is not there, but what about intend? Oh. That's right. So it's intend. So we emphasize the in at the beginning. Intended, like so. Intended. Good. Because the slip box is not intended to be an encyclopedia, I know that's in the dictionary, but we'll see if I'm going to see if I can do it. We go in cyclo. We have in cyclopedia. See if that's correct. Encyclo. Yes, that's correct. Once again, the N needs to be just a little bit smaller, but other than that, not too bad. So that's encyclo, and then we have pedia, like that. All right. So we got that much done. It's not intended to be an encyclopedia, but here we go. But a tool to think with. To think with, comma. We don't need to worry about completeness. We don't need to worry about completeness. I think that's correct for completeness. Let's see. Complete. Yep. And then completeness. Completeness would have to be a disjointed. I'm surprised I haven't done completeness yet. Interesting. That should be a disjointed NS. Did I? Let me check my listings to see if I'm going to add it. Nope, nope. So I need to add that. Because that one's a little strange. That one is definitely a little on the strange side. So we have completeness. We don't have to worry about completeness. We don't need to write anything down. We don't need to write anything down. We don't need to write anything down just to bridge a gap in a note sequence. Just to bridge a gap. It should be gap right there. To bridge a gap. Yep, that's gap. To bridge a gap in a note sequence. Period. We only write if it helps us with our thinking. We only write if it helps us with our thinking. Period. The gaps we do need to concern ourselves with. The gaps we do need to concern. I think that's cons. Is it just cons or concern? Concern. No. Oh. Wow. Okay. All right. Just that was good. It's just the S needs to be flipped around. So concern ourselves with ourselves with are the gaps in the arguments in the final manuscript. Are the gaps in the arguments, fix this again, arguments in the final countdown. No, in the final manuscript. All right, and with that, we are done for this set. So that was another 3 hours. So very pleased with the progress made. And now I'm going to take a break. I will be back shortly to complete the final 3 hours for today. Thank you very much, and I will see you in just a little while. Bye-bye.